She stepped out of a painting, a work of art of you. Walking to me is amazing. I really admire you. Long as you here.
Hey babes, I'm so excited to be here giving you all this tutorial today. I've been proud of a lot of my artwork over the years, but this one really takes the cake for me. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm starting off with Valentino Beauty Pure Prettiest Pink. Is what my nails were looking like at the time. And then I'm also going to be using my Valentino nail tips and shaping them to my desired size and shape. So this is my little setup. You know, we a cool mom, so we got our cool mom cup. My sister literally just bought me this mermaid silicone decoration, and so I just keep my little dust brush in there, and my nail art brushes rest there when I'm doing my nail art, clearly. So I'm literally just sizing up the tips to my nails, you know, regular stuff, seeing which ones fit, because I've had this nail box for so long and I still don't know my proper sizes. So it's whatever. I just always size every time. I guess I should write it down, but I have yet to do so. So yeah, I'm just going through the whole process, and the timestamps are listed below if you want to just skip right ahead and get into the nail art. But for anybody that's wondering my acrylic process, this is it. Then I go in with my nail clippers from D&D. I got this from my local nail supply store. It was around $9, and in my opinion, it was definitely worth the investment. And after I got them all cut, I go in with an 80/80 file, also from my local nail supply store, and further shape my nails into a point. I start at the tip and I go from left to right on the edges I just cut to get them to a point, and then I start on the more rectangular parts and file them down until I get my desired triangle. I first start under the nail tip with my file flat, then file from side to side to make it narrow. After all the tips have been sculpted to the desired point, I go in with my e-file and remove the shine from the nail tips. I clear off the dust, dehydrate the nail plate, and add some Super Bond to further make sure there will be no lifting. I do this one nail at a time on myself, just in case I accidentally touch a nail while I'm laying my acrylic. Today I'm using my size 10 Kolinsky brush from the Nail Lab. I'm not sure if they still sell it, but if so, I will leave the link in the description below. Starting in zone 1, which is the free edge, I add my first bead. I don't worry too much about laying my acrylic down 100% perfect because I know I'm gonna just clean up my mistakes when I file anyways. So I place the bead, let it level a bit, and then swipe and pat into the shape as needed. I have pretty small nails, so not much acrylic is required, especially in my second and third zones. In other words, to build my apex and to fill my cuticle. I didn't want the video to be crazy long, so I skipped ahead just to my thumb. I know a lot of people use one bead method or three bead method, but I like to go even tinier and use smaller beads just so I can get exactly where I need it to be and the exact structure that I like. So now we're on to filing, and as you can see, I'm using that same 80-80 to shape the free edge of all of my tips. I also go in on the side wall a bit just to get it very narrow. I like them looking like little raindrops. I think that's so cute. Stiletto is literally my favorite shape, and I'm usually rocking stiletto nails. The sharper the better. I then go in with that same hand file and I just use it to round the corners so that it really gets that teardrop like stiletto. Besides nail arts, this is one of my favorite parts. Look at that shape though. So after all the free edge is finished being shaped and rounded to perfection, and I just clean up my cuticle area and make sure everything is smooth and just looking real pristine. But for some reason, I don't have that footage, so you just see me cleaning off my nails, and then realizing that I didn't buff. So then I go back in, I buff and clean again. These are lint-free wipes and alcohol that I'm using to clean off the surface of my nail, just to prep for the nail arts. So let's get into it. So first things first, I get my palette out. It already has some colors on it from a previous nail look I was doing. Probably seen it on my page, the Breadwinner nail set. Yes, this was the color palette for it. So right now I'm taking this light color from a prey and this medium color for a prey, which I love to use on skin tone nails. They came in a collection set called Cairo, which is their Egyptian Kemetic theme set, and it's all a play on words. Like the light one was called Pheromones, and the medium one was called Mummy Dearest. I really like punny, corny stuff like that, so I was in love. Now you see me going in with a mechanical pencil to just sketch out where everything will be placed on the nail. I like to go in with pencil most of the time before I start with my gel paint because it just gives me a good idea of the placement everything will be. 9 times out of 10, it's never exactly how I draw it, but once again, it just gives me a good kind of feel for how everything will fit inside the nail. And not only that, but it's also really good because I can easily wipe it away with alcohol or my brush cleaner solution as I go, and it's not as permanent as cured gel would be. Okay, guys, here's my secret. There's really no true method to my madness. Sometimes I start with the eyes, sometimes I start with the face, sometimes I fill my background in first and then add the details on top, but sometimes I don't. It just really depends on how I feel. Today, I just felt like starting with the eyes to make sure I fit everything into frame. I think this is the second time I even attempted this, and I was really worried about not having enough space to fit the whole face into frame because this is the tiniest I've ever drawn a real portrait face. Now, cartoon faces I've drawn even tinier than this, but a real detailed actual person, nah. Eyes, because everybody knows Nicki's eyes are like her staple. If you don't get that liner right, if you don't get those lashes together, is it really Miss Minaj? So we did what we had to do and we started with those eyes. At first, as you can see, creating the base for the pupils that will go in her eye, and then after that cures, I'll add a little white dot to really make them look like eyeballs. And then I can begin on the rest of the face because I know where the eyes are. So now I can kind of shape out the brows and the nose, and based off of the art that I'm using to even make this, based off the art that I'm using to create this nail art, I know that everything will fit and I'll have space for everything because I have my eyes down. That's just my theology. That's how I do it. Yeah. So as you can see, like once I have those lashes down, I also know where her face is going to end. So now I can appropriately place the eyebrows where they need to go to make it look good, pretty much. and I clean up that pencil so that it's not in the way, and I get right into it. Every time you see me like snatch my hand away, I'm going to cure. So after each little piece, to make sure it stays into place, I cure for 30 to 60 seconds depending on how thick the layer of gel art is that I just laid down. Like these little eyeballs, after I draw them, I'll probably cure for 30 seconds or 15 seconds, opposed to a whole 60 seconds stay under the light. I need a flash cure because I will make everything so much faster and so much easier. But right now, I have just my LED lamp. Is it LED? UV LED lamp, and that's what I use to cure in between painting. The hardest part of this look by far was definitely her nose and the teeth. I was really trying to capture her nose, which does have a little um bump in it, like it's not all completely straight. And then as well as her teeth, like the way the drawing made it made it seem like they were like kind of rounded at the bottom, so you could see that they were teeth and not just, that white line clear across. So when I was trying to do those things and add those intricate details, man, I went over and over and over and over it. This right here is literally just the rough sketch and outline of her face, but it gets cleaned up so many times, changed quite often, and I go over and over until I'm satisfied with how it looks. You might think that things like the eyelashes come later, or maybe the smaller details come a little bit later, but I really like to add the eyelashes because they be looking alien to me when I start drawing them, and I'm like, okay, this does not look like the picture. So I just keep adding things until I'm satisfied with that. Okay, this is starting to look like the image. This is starting to look like the picture. Like, really, with nail art, you have to trust the process. Do not give up after your first failed attempt. You will have several failed attempts. I haven't seen anybody get it right on the first time. And even artists that I admire, be like, okay, after 23 hours of painting this nail and it didn't come out how I wanted to, I scrapped it and started over. 23 hours. Like, kudos to you, sis. But I'ma, paint for a couple hours. If I can't get it right, I'll leave and I'll come back and try to start again. With this look, I was actually able to get it down in one sitting. I feel like it took me about 4 hours in total to complete her face, and that is actually slight for me, for real, because it usually takes even longer. But I usually have a bigger canvas, aka longer nails. So because the nails were so short and because it was only her face going onto the nails, it was pretty easy. And as y'all saw, like the other nail art that went on my pointer and my pinky and my thumb weren't really intricate either. So yeah, all in all, it took about 4 hours to completely finish painting her whole face. And like right now, y'all, she could be anybody. Like this could literally be the sketch for a whole bunch of celebrities. And honestly, that's because everybody be trying to look alike, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but yeah, I just start to try to add more details, and just like the more details you add, the more the picture will come together. So, like I said, you just have to trust the process. I go back and forth between different areas because the colors that I'm using, they tend to bleed and they don't bleed well. So if I am painting lips and doing the lip outline at the same time, the outline that I just painted for the lips will bleed into the area that I just painted for my lips. You feel me? So therefore, I'll do maybe the eyeshadow for the eyes and the lips at the same time, and then cure, and then go back to the outline of the lips. Right now, I'm filling in the whole base for the face because I want to start putting in those details and really really putting everything together. It's the details that make the art. It's really it's really the details that make the art. So yeah, I'm just filling in the background. I'm going in with a lighter base color so that when I do add my darker shade, it won't be so opaque. This is the pheromones color that I had laid down earlier. And I believe after this layer, I go back in with the Mummy Dearest. And even as I lay her whole face, like, baby, it's coming together. Them teeth is really getting me. But you know, she looking real vampire right now. It's whatever. But the more I paint, the more I carve out, the more details I add, the more we start to get Miss Minaj on the page. Yes, sir. Y'all, here come them teeth I was talking about. Like, I was really trying to round out the teeth, and I even try to add the liner to it to the lip to be like, okay, well maybe they'll look. No, no, they look wild as hell. She was giving Frankenstein. So I was like, okay, absolutely not. I still cured it though because I can always just cover it back up with white. And that's another thing. You make a mistake, you don't always have to just clear it or wipe it off. You can just paint over it, like for real, and no one will know the latter. And look, you told me she had some bucky teeth 5 seconds ago. You would never know. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna know? Nobody's gonna know. Okay. So now you see me going in with Mummy Dearest to really capture her essence, her skin tone, and make everything look more lively. Now that I started to feel good about the front half of her face, I started to work on the back half of her face as well because I'm like, okay, it's still looking a little scary. So let me, add some details in here so we can find so we can find Nicki because right at this point she's still looking a little, yeah. It's like once you get to this point, once you get to this stage, you starting to feel yourself because you see it. You're like, okay, okay, okay. So yeah. So now once again though, you want to add those small details because those details is what's really gonna make the drawing. I believe I zoomed out a little bit so y'all can get a better feel for how she's looking at this point. I don't know what I was doing at this point, but I was drawing something, child. I think it was her ear, her hairline. I don't know, the back of her neck. I think we was sculpting out the back of her neck because her neck was a little Nelly. It was a little thick. It was a little thick. So we started doing her ear, adding those details and her edges because she has like really nice sideburns, and I wanted to make sure I captured that. And she has also a really nice hairline. And like this Nicki was like Vogue Nicki. Cover of Vogue, slick back, mature mom hairstyle. Because that's how we're going all 2024. Real mature, real slick, real mogul, okay? And that's why I decided to paint mogul on my thumb just to remind myself this year of how we're starting it off, how we're going about our money, how we're going about our business. Everything's about the business, baby. And I painted 100K because that is the goal for Q1. We need 100K followers Q1. Period. Like not Q2, not Q4, not end of year, not whole year. Q1. So if you're with me this far and you're loving the art look, you're loving the tutorial, definitely like, definitely comment, and definitely subscribe. Now, can Nicki really be Nicki without these sculpted high cheekbones? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we had to get into that. And this was my most exciting part. I literally love to contour my own face. So when it comes to contouring and painting nail art, baby, I love it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. You already know. Let's go. So yeah, I'm contouring her face. I'm adding the same eyeshadow, the same base I use for her eyeshadow. I'm adding that also for her blush on her cheek. And I'm actually going in with some white for highlight. You know, when you add little dots, it kind of makes it look like a sparkle or a shimmer. And so that's all that I'm basically doing at this point, and blending it. Yo, my blender brush is trashed. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know what I did to it. I had it bent up some space and it is all types of bent out of shape. This my blender brush is also from Nails by Dev. All my nail art brushes are that I use for painting. I have a couple, some from Amazon, but not really. But yeah, so my blender blush is trash, but I still use it anyway, and she still get the job done. She still get the job done. Maybe we'll buy a new one in 2024, but you know, if it ain't broke, technically it is broke. Anywho, now we're just shadow casting, so darker tones, lighter tones on what we've already captured to make sure that everything, you know, looks seamless. It's really giving skin, it's really giving portrait, it's really giving Nicki. This is really when we got into the cute details, when we added the speckles to her, when we added the speckles to her eyeshadow and to her highlights. Really making sure those areas of hers were highlighted. Yeah, mom was looking good. Sculpted out them brows a bit more. And I was just so like, you guys, I was so in love with her from the moment I finished adding these details. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this goes so crazy. To add more definition to her hair, I went in and added a little bit of white gray streaks so you could see that it was a slick back look. At this point, I was pretty satisfied with her face, but I wanted a kind of a darker color. So I went in and I put some Osiris down a little bit because I know I didn't need that much, just to bring some more definition to her eyebrows. And this was the perfect color for this. Look at that. Wonders. And I was really satisfied with the rest of her face after I cleaned up her forehead and her hairline in the front of it. So the last detail was adding her earring. We gotta always think about God. We gotta always incorporate him in everything we do. So I added a cross instead of a diamond. So, just to let everybody know he's with me no matter what. And to let myself know too, because the world tries to get you down, life tries to get you down. But you know what? My joy didn't come from this world, and it'll never be able to take it away. Now I'm starting in on my other nails, starting with my pinky. I'm drawing the 100K, and I'm using bubble letters to do so because I love bubble letters. They're literally one of my favorites. So, plus they're like super simple, super easy. So my one right now is looking a little bit like a 7, but if we reach 700K, that's good too. But I do go back in and outline this afterwards. I just do my rough sketch first. I see the areas that need to be cleaned up. I take my number 2 Kolinsky brush and I use that in some brush cleaner to go ahead and clean up the mistakes that I made and go ahead and cure. As you can see, that 100K is looking a lot better. And then I started on my pointer finger. I wanted to do some cheers because we are in the new year, and who don't love that bubbly? So therefore, I drew 2 champagne flutes clinging together, and then I added some glitter sparkle in the middle just to signify some pink moet. I did go back over these little flutes several times just to try to get them proportionate and right or whatever to the look that I wanted to do. Make sure they looked really cylindery and not flat. And that's basically what I'm doing. And then cleaning up the stems of the glasses so that they're a little skinnier, because champagne flutes are skinnier. I do wish I had made them a little bit longer, because then they would look more flute like, because they kind of look a little bit wine glassy, but they so cute. I'm going to take my June Bride. This is my favorite base to use for my toes when I do my French. It's like a cute glitter pink, and it was perfect for the champagne look I was trying to do. Now, starting on the mogul, I just did the outline of each letter and then I simply filled it in. The real part about bubble letters is that the outline is what's going to give it that real bubble effect. So right now you're just making the base for your outline. So I go in, I draw out the whole mogul, Mogul, but then I realized it's not centered enough for me. So I do wipe it off and do it again after I've already done this. But right now, you just see me laying out the letters, and in the end, you'll see where the final mogul was laid on the thumbnail. So this was after I redrew mogul more centered, and now I'm just going in with a gray color that I mixed together from black and white, just a real light gray to outline the words, give them more definition. Like I said, the bubble part comes in when you add the outline. So as you can see from the way that I added the outline to the M, it's looking real bubbly, and the G also, U, and L. And anything that I didn't like, I knew that I could just go back in and add, clean up, number one, but then also add more white to the center to either make the lines look thinner or to just make everything look a little bit more perfect. I'm going to do the same thing with my 100K, adding the little intricate details and outline to make them bubble letters. After everything was drawn, I top coated everything, and there you have it, guys. The first set of 2024 at the Merbabe Nail Bar, Miss Minaj herself, my inspo and mogul. and I'm in love. Everything turned out so cute, so delicate, dainty. Like it's giving nail art and expression, but it's also giving like classy soft girl. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.